Hello, hello, hello.
The bourbon is helping, and if
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 457th celebration of William Shakespeare's birthday and the Bardcast Players production of As You Like It. This performance is a benefit for the Actors Fund and Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. If you are so inclined, please go to our website, www.thebardcastyoudick.com, where you will find links to those charities. Please be aware that there will be a 5-minute intermission. And now, sit back, relax, and follow us to the Forest of Arden with As You Like It.
As I remember, Adam, it was upon this fashion bequeathed me by will but pour 1,000 crowns, and, as thou sayest, charged my brother on his blessing to breed me well. And there begins my sadness. My brother Jacques he keeps at school, and report speaks goldenly of his profit. For my part, he keeps me rustically at home, or, to speak more properly, stays me here at home unkept. For call you that keeping for a gentleman of my birth, that differs not from the stalling of an ox. His horses are bred better. He lets me feed with his hinds, bars me the place of a brother, and, as much as in him lies, minds my gentility with my education. This is it, Adam, that grieves me. And the spirit of my father, which I think is within me, begins to mutiny against this servitude. I will no longer endure it, though yet I know no wise remedy how to avoid it.
Yonder comes my master, your brother.
Go apart, Adam, and thou shalt hear how he will shake me up.
Now, sir, what make you here?
Nothing. I am not taught to make anything.
What mar you then, sir?
Marry, sir, I am helping you to mar that which God made, a poor unworthy brother of yours, with idleness.
Marry, sir, be better employed, and be not a while.
Shall I keep your hogs and eat husks with them? What prodigal portion have I spent that I should come to such penury?
Know you where you are, sir?
Oh, sir, very well, here in your orchard.
Know you before whom, sir?
Aye, better than him I am before knows me. I know you are my eldest brother, and in the gentle condition of blood, you should so know me. The courtesy of nations allows you my better, in that you are the firstborn. But the same tradition takes not away my blood, were there 20 brothers betwixt us. I have as much of my father in me as you, albeit I confess your coming before me is near to his reverence.
What, boy?
Come, elder brother, you are too young in this.
Wilt thou lay hands on me, villain?
I am no villain. I am the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys. He was my father, and he is thrice a villain that says such a father begot villains. Wert thou not my brother, I would not take this hand from thy throat till this other had pulled out thy tongue for saying so. Thou hast railed on thyself.
Sweet masters, be patient, for your father's remembrance be at accord.
Let me go, I say.
I will not till I please. You shall hear me. My father charged you in his will to give me good education. You have trained me like a peasant, obscuring and hiding from me all gentlemanlike qualities. The spirit of my father grows strong in me, and I will no longer endure it. Therefore, allow me such exercises as may become a gentleman. Or give me the poor allottery my father left me by testament. With that I will go by my fortunes.
And what wilt thou do? Beg when that is spent? Well, sir, get you in. I will not long be troubled with you. You shall have some part of your will. I pray you leave me.
I will no further offend you than becomes me for my good.
Get you with him, you old dog.
Is old dog my reward? Most true, I have lost my teeth in your service. God be with my old master. He would not have spoke such a word.
Is it even so? Begin you to grow upon me? I will physic your rankness, and yet give no 1,000 crowns neither. Hola, Dennis.
Calls, your worship.
Was not Charles, the Duke's wrestler, here to speak with me?
So please you, he is here at the door and importunes access to you.
Well, call him in. 'Twill be a good way, and tomorrow the wrestling is.
Good morrow to your worship.
Good Monsieur Charles, what's the new news at the new court?
There's no news at the court, sir, but the old news. That is, the old Duke is banished by his younger brother, the new Duke, and 3 or 4 loving lords have put themselves into voluntary exile with him, whose lands and revenues enrich the new Duke. Therefore, he gives them good leave to wander.
Can you tell if Rosalind, the Duke's daughter, be banished with her father?
Oh, no. For the Duke's daughter, her cousin so loves her, being ever from the cradles bred together, that she would have followed her exile or have died to stay behind her. She is at the court, and no less beloved of her uncle than his own daughter, and never 2 ladies loved as they do.
Where will the old Duke live?
Well, they say he is already in the forest of Arden, and many a merry men with him. And there they live, like the old Robin Hood of England. They say many young gentlemen flock to him every day and fleet the time carelessly as they did in the golden world.
What, you wrestle tomorrow before the new Duke?
Marry do I, sir, and I came to acquaint you with the matter. I am given, sir, secretly to understand that your younger brother Orlando hath a disposition to come in disguised against me to try a fall. Tomorrow, sir, I wrestle for my credit, and he that escapes me without some broken limb shall acquit him well. Your brother is but young and tender, and for your love I would be loath to foil him, as I must for my own honor, if he come in. Therefore, out of my love to you, I came hither to acquaint you with all, that either you might stay him from his intendment, or brook such disgrace well as he shall run into, in that it is a thing of his own search, and altogether against my will.
Charles, I thank thee for thy love to me, which thou shalt find I will most kindly requite. I had myself notice of my brother's purpose herein, and have by underhand means labored to dissuade him from it. But he is resolute. I'll tell thee, Charles, it is the stubbornest young fellow of France, full of ambition, an envious emulator of every man's good parts, a secret and villainous contriver against me, his natural brother. Therefore, use thy discretion. I had as lief thou didst break his neck as his finger. For I assure thee, and almost with tears I speak it, there is not one so young and so villainous this day living. I speak but brotherly of him. But should I anatomize him to thee as he is, I must blush and weep, and thou must look pale and wonder.
I am heartily glad I came hither to you. If he come tomorrow, I'll give him his payment. If ever he go alone again, I'll never wrestle for prize more. And so God keep your worship.
Fare thee well, good Charles. Now will I stir this gamester. I hope I shall see an end of him, for my soul, yet I know not why, hates nothing more than he. Yet he's gentle, never schooled and yet learned, full of noble device, of all sorts enchantingly beloved, and indeed so much in the heart of the world, and especially of my own people who best know him, that I am altogether misprized. But it shall not be so long. This wrestler shall clear all. Nothing remains but that I kindled the boy thither, which now I'll go about.
I pray thee, Rosalind, sweet my coz, be merry.
Dear Celia, I show more mirth than I am mistress of, and would you yet I were merrier? Unless you could teach me to forget a banished father, you must not learn me how to remember any extraordinary pleasure.
Herein I see thou lovest me not with the full weight that I love thee. If my uncle, thy banished father, had banished thy uncle, the duke, my father, so thou hadst still been with me, I could have taught my love to take thy father for mine. So wouldst thou, if the truth of thy love to me were so righteously tempered as mine is to thee.
Well, I will forget the condition of my estate to rejoice in yours.
You know my father hath no child but I, nor none is like to have. And truly, when he dies, thou shalt be his heir. For what he hath taken away from thy father perforce, I will render thee again in affection. By mine honor, I will. And when I break that oath, let me turn monster. Therefore, my sweet Rose, my dear Rose, be merry.
From henceforth I will, coz, and devise sports. Let me see. What think you of falling in love?
Marry, I prithee do, to make sport withal. But love no man in good earnest, nor no further in sport neither, than with safety of a pure blush thou mayest in honor come off again.
What shall be our sport then?
Let us sit and mock the good housewife Fortune from her wheel, that her gifts may henceforth be bestowed equally. For those that she makes fair, she scarce makes honest, and those that she makes honest, she makes very ill-favoredly.
Nay, now thou goest from Fortune's office to Nature's. Fortune reigns in gifts of the world, not in the lineaments of nature.
Though nature hath given us wit to flout at Fortune, hath not Fortune sent in this fool to cut off the argument? How now, wit? Whither wander you?
Oh, mistress, you must come away to your father.
Were you made the messenger?
No, by my mine honor. Whew. But I was bid to come for you.
Where learned you that oath, fool?
Of a certain knight that swore by his honor they were good pancakes, and swore by his honor the mustard was not. Now, I'll stand to it, the pancakes were not, and the mustard was good, and yet was not the knight forsworn.
How prove you that in the great heap of your knowledge?
Aye, marry, now unmuzzle your wisdom.
Stand you both forth now, stroke your chins, and swear by your beards that I am a knave.
By our beards, if we had them, thou art.
By my knavery, if I had it, then I were. But if you swear by that is not, you are not forsworn. No more was this knight swearing by his honor, for he never had any. Or if he had sworn it away before ever he saw those pancakes, or that mustard.
Prithee, who is it that thou meanest?
One that old Frederick, your father, loves.
My father's love is enough to honor him. Enough! Speak no more of him. You'll be whipped for taxation one of these days.
The more the pity that fools may not speak wisely what wise men do foolishly.
Here comes Monsieur Lebeau,
with his mouth full of news,
which he will put on us as pigeons feed their young.
Then we shall be news crammed.
All the better, we shall be the more marketable. Bonjour, Monsieur Lebeau. What's the news?
Fair princesses, you have lost much good sport.
Sport? Of what color?
What color, madame? How shall I answer you?
As wit and fortune will.
If, or as the destinies decree.
Well said. That was laid on with a trowel.
You amaze me, ladies. I would have told you of good wrestling, which you have lost the sight of.
You tell us the manner of the wrestling.
I will tell you the beginning, and if it please your ladyships, you may see the end, for the best is yet to do, and here, where you are, they are coming to perform it.
Well, the beginning, that is dead and buried.
There comes an old man and his 3 sons, 3 proper young men of excellent growth and presence. The eldest of the 3 wrestled with Charles, the Duke's wrestler, which Charles in a moment threw him and broke 3 of his ribs, that there is little hope of life in him. And so he served the 2nd, and so the 3rd. Yonder they lie, the poor old man, their father, making such pitiful dole over them, that all the beholders take his part with weeping.
Alas!
But what is the sport, monsieur, that the ladies have lost?
Why, that which I speak of.
Ah, well, thus men may grow wiser every day. It is the first time that I ever heard breaking of ribs was sport for ladies.
Or I promise thee.
Shall we see this wrestling, cousin?
No, you must if you stay here, for here is the place appointed for the wrestling. And they are ready to perform it.
Yonder, sure, they are coming. Let us now stay and see it.
Come on! Since the youth will not be entreated, his own peril on his forwardness.
Yonder the man?
Oh, even he, madame.
Alas, he is too young, yet he looks successfully.
How now, daughter and cousin, are you crept hither to see the wrestling?
Aye, my liege, so please you give us leave.
You will take little delight in it, I can tell you. There is such odds in the man. In pity of the challenger's youth, I would fain dissuade him, but he will not be entreated. Speak to him, ladies. See if you can move him.
Call him hither, good Monsieur Lebeau.
Do so, I'll not be by.
Monsieur le Challenger, the princesses call for you.
I attend them with all respect and duty.
Young man, have you challenged Charles the wrestler?
No, fair princess. He is the general challenger. I come but in as others do, to try with him the strength of my youth.
Young gentlemen, your spirits are too bold for your years. You've seen cruel proof of this man's strength. We pray you, for your own sake, to embrace your own safety and give over this attempt.
Do, young sir. Your reputation shall not therefore be misprized. We will make it our suit to the Duke that the wrestling might not go forward.
I beseech you, punish me not with your hard thoughts, wherein I confess me much guilty to deny so fair and excellent lady go with me to my trial. I shall do my friends no wrong, for I have none to lament me. The world no injury, for in it I have nothing. Only in the world I fill up a place which may be better supplied when I have made it empty.
The little strength that I have, I would it were with you.
And mine, to eke out hers.
Fare you well. Pray heaven I be deceived in you.
Your heart's desires be with you.
Come, where is this young gallant that is so desirous to lie with this Mother Earth?
Ready, sir, but his will hath in it a more modest working.
You shall try but one fall.
No, I warrant your grace, you shall not entreat him to a second that have so mightily persuaded him from a first.
And you mean to mock me after? You should not have mocked me before. But come your ways.
Now Hercules be thy speed, young man.
I would I were invisible to catch the strong fellow by the leg.
Oh, excellent young man!
If I had a thunderbolt in mine eye, I can touch it down.
No more! No more!
Yes, I beseech your grace. I am not yet well breathed.
How dost thou, Charles?
Now speak, my lord.
Bear him away. What is thy name, young man?
Orlando, my liege, the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys.
I wouldst thou hadst been son to some man else. The world esteemed thy father honorable, but I did find him still mine enemy. Thou shouldst have pleased me better with his deed, hadst thou descended from another house. But fare thee well, thou art a gallant youth. I would thou hadst told me of another father.
Were I my father, cuz, would I do this?
I am more proud to be Sir Roland's son, his youngest son, and would not change that calling to be adopted heir to Frederick!
My father loved Sir Roland as his soul, and all the world was of my father's mind. Had I before known this young man his son, I should have given him tears unto entreaties ere he should thus have ventured.
Gentle cousin, let us go thank him and encourage him. My father's rough and envious disposition sticks me at heart. Sir, you have well deserved. If you do keep your promises in love, but justly, as you have exceeded all promise, your mistress shall be happy.
Gentlemen, wear this for me. One out of suits with fortune that could give more, but that her hand lacks means. Shall we go, cuz?
Aye, fare you well, fair gentleman.
Can I not say I thank you? My better parts are all thrown down, and that which here stands up is but a Quinton, a mere lifeless block.
Oh, he calls us back. My pride fell with my fortunes. I'll ask him what he would. Did you call, sir? Sir, you have wrestled well and overthrown more than your enemies.
Will you go, cuz?
Have with you. Fare you well.
What passion hangs these weights upon my tongue? I cannot speak to her, yet she urged conference. Oh, poor Orlando, thou art overthrown. Or Charles, or something weaker masters thee.
Good sir, I do in friendship counsel you to leave this place. Albeit you have deserved high commendation, true applause, and love, yet now is the Duke's condition that he misconstrues all that you have done. The Duke is humorous. What he is indeed more suits you to conceive than I to speak of.
I thank you, sir. And pray you tell me this, which of the two was daughter of the Duke that here was at the wrestling?
Neither is daughter if we judge by manners. Yet, indeed, the lesser is his daughter. The other is daughter to the banished Duke, and here detained by her usurping uncle to keep his daughter company, whose loves are dearer than the natural bond of sisters. But I can tell you that of late this Duke hath ta'en displeasure gainst his gentle niece, grounded on no other argument but that the people praise her for her virtues and pity her for her good father's sake. And on my life, his malice against the lady will suddenly break forth. Sir, fare you well. Hereafter, in a better world than this, I shall desire more love and knowledge of you.
I rest much bounden to you. Fare you well. Thus must I from the smoke into the smother, from tyrant Duke unto a tyrant brother. But heavenly Rosalind.
Why, cousin! Why, Rosalind! Cupid have mercy, not a word!
Not one to throw at a dog.
No, thy words are too precious to be cast away upon curs. Throw some of them at me! Come, lame me with reasons.
Then there were two cousins laid up, when the one should be lamed with reasons and the other mad without any.
But is all this for your father?
No, some of it is for my child's father. Oh, how full of briars is this working day world.
They are but burrs, cousin, thrown upon thee in holiday foolery. If we walk not in the trodden paths, our very petticoats will catch them.
I could shake them off my coat. These burrs are in my heart.
Come, come, wrestle with thy affections.
Oh, they take the part of a better wrestler than myself.
Oh, a good wish upon you. But let us talk in good earnest. Is it possible? On such a sudden, you should fall into so strong a liking with old Sir Roland's youngest son?
The Duke, my father, loved his father dearly.
Doth it therefore ensue that you should love his son dearly? By this kind of chase, I should hate him, for my father hated his father dearly, yet I hate not Orlando.
No, Faith, hate him not for my sake.
Why should I not? Doth he not deserve well?
But let me love him for that, and do you love him because I do. Look, here comes the Duke.
With his eyes full of anger.
Mistress, dispatch you with your safest haste and get you from our court.
Me, uncle.
You, cousin, within these 10 days, if thou beest found so near our public court as 20 miles, thou diest for it.
I do beseech your grace, let me the knowledge of my fault bear with me. If with myself I hold intelligence or have acquaintance with mine own desires, if that I do not dream or be not frantic, as I do trust I am not, then, dear uncle, never so much as in a thought unborn did I offend your highness.
Thus do all traitors. Let it suffice thee that I trust thee not.
Yet your mistrust cannot make me a traitor. Tell me whereon the likelihood depends.
Thou art thy father's daughter! There's enough!
So was I when your highness took his dukedom. So was I when your highness banished him. Treason is not inherited, my lord, or if we did derive it from our friends, what's that to me? My father was no traitor. Then, good my liege, mistake me not so much to think my poverty is treacherous.
Dear sovereign, hear me speak.
Ah. Celia, we stayed her for your sake, else had she with her father ranged along.
I did not then entreat to have her stay. It was your pleasure and your own remorse. I was too young that time to value her. But now I know her. If she be a traitor, why so am I. We still have slept together, rose at an instant, learned, played, eat together, and wheresoever we went, like Juno's swan, still we went coupled and inseparable.
She is too subtle for thee. And her smoothness, her very silence, and her patience speak to the people, and they pity her. Thou art a fool. She robs thee of thy name, and thou wilt show more bright and seem more virtuous when she is gone. Then open not thy lips. Firm and irrevocable is my doom, which I have passed upon her. She is banished.
Pronounce that sentence, then, on me, my liege. I cannot live out of her company.
You are a fool. You, niece, provide yourself. If you outstay the time upon mine honor and in the greatness of my word, you die.
Oh, my poor Rosalind, whither wilt thou go? Wilt thou change fathers? I will give thee mine. I charge thee, be not thou more grieved than I am.
I have more cause.
Thou hast not, cousin. Prithee be cheerful. Knowest thou not, the Duke hath banished me, his daughter?
That he hath not.
No, hath not. Rosalind lacks then the love which teacheth thee that thou and I am one. Shall we be sundered? Shall we part, sweet girl? No, let my father seek another heir. Therefore devise with me how we may fly, whither to go, and what to bear with us. And do not seek to take your change upon you, to bear your griefs yourself and leave me out. For by this heaven, now at our sorrows pale, say what thou canst, I'll go along with thee.
Why, whither shall we go?
To seek my uncle in the forest of Arden.
Alas, what danger will it be to us maids as we are to travel forth so far? Beauty provoketh thieves sooner than gold.
I'll put myself in poor and mean attire, and with a kind of umber smirch my face. The like do you, so shall we pass along and never stir assailants.
Were it not better, because that I am more than common tall, that I did suit me all points like a man?
What shall I call thee when thou art a man?
I'll have no worse a name than Jove's own page, and therefore look you call me Ganymede. But what will you be called?
Something that hath a reference to my state. No longer Celia, but alien. Nah.
Oh, but cousin, what if we essayed to steal the clownish fool out of your father's court? Would he not be a comfort to our travel?
He'll go along the whole wide world with me. Leave me alone to woo him. Let's away and get our jewels and our wealth together. Devise the fittest time and safest way to hide us from pursuit that will be made after my flight. Now go we in content, to liberty and not to banishment.
Now, my co-mates and brothers in exile, hath not old custom made this life more sweet than that of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? Here feel we but the penalty of Adam, the season's difference as the icy fang and churlish chiding of the winter's wind, which when it bites and blows upon my body, even till I shrink with cold, I smile and say, this is no flattery. These are counselors that feelingly persuade me what I am. Sweet are the uses of adversity. And this our life exempt from public haunt finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. I would not change it.
Happy is your grace that can translate the stubbornness of fortune into so quiet and so sweet a style.
Come, shall we go and kill us venison? And yet it irks me. The poor dappled fools, being native burghers of this desert city, should in their own confines with forked heads have their round haunches gored.
Indeed, my lord, the melancholy Jaques grieves at that. And in that kind swears you do more usurp than doth your brother that hath banished you. Oh, today my lord of Amiens and myself did steal behind him as he lay along under an oak whose antique roots peeps out upon the brook that brawls along this wood, to the which place a poor sequestered stag, that from the hunter's aim had ta'en a hurt, did come to languish, and indeed, my lord, the wretched animal heaved forth such groans that their discharge did stretch his leathern coat almost to bursting. And the big round tears coursed one another down his innocent nose in piteous chase. And thus the hairy fool, much marked of the melancholy Jaques, stood on the extremest verge of the swift brook, augmenting it with tears.
But what said Jaques? Did he not moralize this spectacle?
Oh, yes, into 1,000 similes. Poor dear, quoth he, thou makest a testament as worldlings do, giving thy sum of more to that which had too much. Then, being there alone, left and abandoned of his velvet friends, 'tis right, quoth he, thus misery doth part the flux of company. Anon, a careless herd, full of the pasture, jumps along by him and never stays to greet him. Aye, quoth Jaques, sweep on, you fat and greasy citizens, 'tis just the fashion. Wherefore do you look upon that poor and broken bankrupt there? Thus most invectively he pierceth through the body of the country, city, court, yea, and of this our life, swearing that we are mere usurpers, tyrants, and what's worse, to fright the animals and to kill them up in their assigned and native dwelling place.
And did you leave him in this contemplation?
We did, my lord, weeping and commenting upon the sobbing deer.
Show me the place. I love to cope him in these sullen fits, for then he's full of matter.
I'll bring you to him straight.
Can it be possible that no man saw them? It cannot be. Some villains of my quarter of consent and sufferance in this.
I cannot hear of any that did see her. The ladies, her attendants of her chamber, saw her abed, and in the morning early they found the bed untreasured of their mistress.
My lord, the Rhenish clown at whom you yourself so oft, your grace, was wont to laugh, is also missing. Hesperia, the princess's gentlewoman, confesses that she secretly overheard your daughter and her cousin much commend the parts and graces of the wrestler. That did but lately foil the sinewy Charles, and she believes, wherever they are gone, that youth is surely in their company.
Send to his brother. Fetch that gallant hither. If he be absent, bring his brother to me. I'll make him find him. Do this suddenly, and let not certain inquisition quail to bring again these foolish runaways.
Who's there?
What? Oh, my young master! Oh, my gentle master! Oh, my sweet master! Oh, you memory of sweet Sir Roland! Why, what make you here? Why are you virtuous? Why do people love you? And wherefore are you gentle, strong, and valiant? Why would you be so fond to overcome the bonny prizer of the humorous Duke? Your praises come too swiftly home before you. Know you not, master? To some kind of men, their graces serve them but as enemies. No more do yours. Your virtues, gentle master, are sanctified and holy traitors to you. Oh, what a world is this, when what is comely envenoms him that bears it.
Why? What's the matter?
Oh, unhappy youth, come not within these doors. Within this roof, the enemy of all your graces lives, your brother. No brother, yet the son, yet not the son. I will not call him son. Of him that I was about to call your father, hath heard your praises, and this night he means to burn the lodging where you used to lie, and you within it. If he fail of that, he will have other means to cut you off. I overheard him and his practices. This is no place. This house is but a butchery. Abhor it, fear it, do not enter it.
Why, whither, Adam, wouldst thou have me go?
No matter whither, so you not come here.
What, wouldst thou have me go and beg my food? Or with a base and boisterous sword enforce a thievish living on the common road? I rather will subject me to the malice of a diverted blood and bloody brother.
Do not so. I have 500 crowns, the thrifty hire I saved under your father, which I did store to be my foster nurse when service should in my old limbs lie lame and unregarded age in corners thrown. Take that, and let me be your servant. Though I look old, yet I am strong and lusty. For in my youth I never did apply hot and rebellious liquors in my blood, nor did not with unbashful forehead woo the means of weakness and debility. Therefore my age is as a lusty winter, frosty but kindly. Oh, let me go with you. I'll do the service of a younger man in all your business and necessities.
Oh, good old man, how well in thee appears the constant service of the antique world, when service sweat for duty, not for meed. Thou art not for the fashion of these times, where none will sweat but for promotion, and having that, do choke their service up even with the having. It is not so with thee. But come thy ways, we'll go along together, and ere we have thy youthful wages spent, we'll light upon some settled low content.
Master, go on, and I will follow thee to the last gasp with truth and loyalty. From 17 years till now, almost 80 here lived I, but now live here no more. At 17 years, many their fortune seek, but at 80, it is too late a week. Yet fortune cannot recompense me better than to die well and not my master's debtor.
Oh, Jupiter, how weary are my spirits!
Oh, I care not for my spirits if my legs were not weary.
I could find it in my heart to disgrace my man's apparel and cry like a woman, but I must comfort the weaker vessel, as doublet and hose ought to show itself courageous to petticoat. Therefore, courage, good Aliena.
I pray you, bear with me. I cannot go no further.
For my part, I'd rather bear with you than bear you. Yet I shouldn't bear no cross if I did bear you, for I think you have no money in your purse.
Well, this is the forest of Arden.
Aye, now am I in Arden. The more fool I. When I was at home, I was in a better place, but travellers must be content.
I be so good touchstone. Oh, look you, who comes here? A young man and an old in solemn talk.
That is the way to make her scorn you still.
Oh, Corin, that thou knewest how I do love her.
I partly guess, for I have loved ere now.
No, Corin, being old, thou canst not guess. Though in thy youth thou wast as true a lover as ever sighed upon a midnight pillow. But if thy love were ever like to mine, as sure I think did never man love so, how many actions most ridiculous hast thou been drawn to by fantasy?
Into 1,000 that I have forgotten.
Oh, thou didst ne'er love so heartily. If thou rememberest not the slightest folly that e'er love did make thee run into, thou hast not loved. Or if thou hast not sat, as I do now, wearing thy hearer's mistress's praise, thou hast not loved. Or if thou hast not broke, if thou hast not broke from company, abruptly, as is my passion now makes me, thou hast not loved. Oh, Phoebe, Phoebe, Phoebe.
Jove, Jove, this shepherd's passion is much upon my fashion.
And mine, but it grows something stale with me.
I pray you, one of you, question yon man if he for gold will give us any food. I faint almost to death.
Hola, you clown!
Peace, fool, he's not thy kinsman.
Who calls?
Your betters, sir.
Else are they very wretched.
Peace, I say. Good even to you, friend.
And to you, gentle sir, and to you all.
I prithee, shepherd, if that love or gold can in this desert place buy entertainment, bring us where we may rest ourselves and feed. Here is a young maid with travel much oppressed and faints for succor.
Fair sir, I pity her, and wish for her sake more than for mine own, my fortunes were more able to relieve her, but I am shepherd to another man, and do not shear the fleeces that I graze. My master is of churlish disposition, and little recks to find the way to heaven by doing deeds of hospitality. Besides, his coat, his flocks, and bounds of feed are now on sale. And at our sheepcotes now, by reason of his absence, there is nothing that you will feed on. But what is, come see, and in my voice most welcome shall you be.
What is he that shall buy his flock and pasture?
Oh, that young swain that you saw but ere a while, that little cares for buying anything.
I pray thee, if it stand with honesty, buy thou the cottage, pasture, and the flock, and thou shalt have to pay for it of us.
And we will mend thy wages. I like this place, and willingly could waste my time in it.
Assuredly, the thing is to be sold. Go with me. If you like, upon report, the soil, the profit, and this kind of life, I will your very faithful feeder be, and buy it with your gold right suddenly.
Under the greenwood tree, who loves to lie with me and turn his merry note unto the sweet bird's throat. Come hither, come hither, come hither. Here shall he see no enemy but winter and rough weather.
More, more, I prithee, more.
It will make you melancholy, Monsieur Jacques.
I thank it. More, I prithee, more. I can suck melancholy out of a song as weasels suck eggs. More, I prithee, more.
My voice is ragged. I know I cannot please you.
I do not desire you to please me. I do desire you to sing. Come more, another stanzo. Call you them stanzos?
What you will, Monsieur Jacques.
Oh, nay, I care not for their names. They owe me nothing. Will you sing?
More to your request than to please myself.
Well then, if ever I thank any man, I'll thank you. Come, sing, and you that will not, hold your tongues.
Well, I'll end the song. Sirs, cover the while. The Duke will drink under this tree. He hath been all this day to look you.
And I have been all this day to avoid him. He is too disputable for my company. I think of as many matters as he, but I give heaven thanks and make no boast. Come, warble, come.
Who doth ambition shun and loves to live in the sun, seeking the food he eats and pleased with what he gets. Come hither, come hither, come hither. Here shall he see no enemy but winter and rough weather.
I'll give you a verse to this note that I made yesterday in despite of my invention.
And I'll sing it.
Thus it goes. If it do come to pass that any man turn ass, leaving his wealth and ease, a stubborn will to please, duck dame, duck dame, duck dame, here shall he see gross fools as he, and if he will come to me.
What's that duck dame?
Oh, 'tis a Greek invocation to call fools into a circle. I'll go sleep if I can. If I cannot, I'll rail against the firstborn of Egypt.
And I'll go seek the Duke. His banquet is prepared.
Dear master, I can go no further. Oh, I die for food. Here lie I down and measure out my grave. Farewell, kind master.
Why, how now, Adam? No greater heart in thee? Live a little, comfort a little, cheer thyself a little. If this uncouth forest yield anything savage, I will either be food for it or bring it for food to thee. Thy conceit is nearer death than thy powers. For my sake be comfortable, hold death a while at the arm's end. I will here be with thee presently. And if I bring thee not something to eat, I will give thee leave to die. But if thou diest before I come, thou art a mocker of my labor. Well said. Thou lookest cheerly, and I'll be with thee quickly. Yet thou liest in the bleak air. Come, I will bear thee to some shelter, and thou shalt not die for lack of a dinner, if there live anything in this desert. Cheerly, good Adam.
I think he be transformed into a beast, for I can nowhere find him like a man.
My lord, he is but even now gone hence. Here was he merry, hearing of a song.
If he, compactive jars, grow musical, we shall have shortly discord in the spheres. Go seek him out. Tell him I would speak with him.
He saves my labor by his own approach.
Why, how now, Signor? What a life is this, that your poor friends must woo your company? What? Look you merrily?
A fool! A fool! I met a fool in the forest, a motley fool, a miserable world. As I do live by food, I met a fool who laid him down and basked him in the sun and railed on Lady Fortune in good terms, in good set terms, and yet a motley fool. A good morrow, fool, quoth I. No, sir, quoth he, call me not fool till heaven hath sent me fortune. And then he drew a dial from his poke, and looking on it with lackluster eye, says very wisely, oh, it is 10 o'clock. Thus may we see, quoth he, how the world wags. 'Tis but an hour ago since it was 9, and after 1 hour more 'twill be 11. And so from hour to hour we ripe and ripe, and then from hour to hour we rot and rot, and thereby hangs a tale. When I did hear the motley fool thus moral on the time, my lungs began to crow like Chanticleer, that fools should be so deep contemplative, and I did laugh sans intermission an hour by his dial. Oh, noble fool, a worthy fool, motley's the only wear.
What fool is this?
Oh, worthy fool, one that hath been a courtier, and says, if ladies be but young and fair, they have the gift to know it. And in his brain, which is as dry as the remainder biscuit after a voyage, he hath strange places crammed with observation, the which he vents in mangled forms. Oh, that I were a fool! I am ambitious for a motley coat.
Thou shalt have one.
Oh, well, it is my only suit, provided that you weed your better judgments of all opinion that grows rank in them, that I am wise. I must have liberty withal, as large a charter as the wind to blow on whom I please, for so fools have. Invest me in my motley, give me leave to speak my mind, and I will through and through cleanse the foul body of the infected world, if they will patiently receive my medicine.
Fie on thee! I can tell what thou wouldst do.
Well, what for a counter would I do but good?
Most mischievous foul sin in chiding sin. For thou thyself hast been a libertine, as sensual as the brutish sting itself.
Why, who cries out on pride that can therein tax any private party? Doth it not flow as hugely as the sea, till that the very weary means do begin to ebb? There then. How then? What then? If I do him right, then he hath wronged himself. If he be free, why then my taxing like a wild goose flies unclaimed of any man. Oh, but who comes here?
Forbear, and eat no more.
Why, I have yet none yet.
Nor shalt not till necessity be served.
Of what kind should this cock come of?
Art thou thus boldened, man, by thy distress, or else a rude despiser of good manners, that in civility thou seemst so empty?
You touched my vein at first. The thorny point of bare distress had ta'en from me the show of smooth civility. Yet am I inland bred and know some nurture. But forbear, I say, he dies that touches any of this fruit till I and my affairs are answered.
And you will not be answered with reason. I must die.
What would you have? Your gentleness shall force more than your force move us to gentleness.
I almost die for food, and let me have it.
Sit down and feed, and welcome to our table.
Speak you so gently? Pardon me, I pray you. I thought that all things had been savage here, and therefore put I on the countenance of stern commandment. But whate'er you are that in this desert inaccessible, under the shade of melancholy boughs, lose and neglect the creeping hours of time, if ever you have looked on better days. If ever been where bells have knolled to church, if ever sat at any good man's feast, if ever from your eyelids wiped a tear and know what 'tis to pity and be pitied, let gentleness my strong enforcement be, in the which hope I blush and hide my sword.
True it is that we have seen better days, and have with holy bell been knolled to church, and sat at good men's feasts, and wiped our eyes of drops that sacred pity hath engendered. And therefore sit you down in gentleness, and take upon command what help we have that to your wanting may be ministered.
Then but forbear your food a little whiles like a doe, I go to find my fawn and give it food. There is an old poor man, who after me hath many a weary step limped in pure love, till he be first sufficed, oppressed with two weak evils, age and hunger. I will not touch a bit.
Go, find him out, and we will nothing waste till you return.
I thank ye, and be blessed for your good comfort.
Thou seest we are not all alone unhappy. This wide and universal theater presents more woeful pageants than the scene wherein we play in.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. And then the soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Welcome. Set your venerable burden down and let him feed.
I thank you most for him.
So had you need, I scarce can speak to thank you for myself.
Welcome. Fall to. I will not trouble you as yet to question you about your fortunes. Give us some music, and good cousin, sing.
Blow, blow, thou winter wind, thou art not so unkind as man's ingratitude. Thy tooth is not so keen, because thou art not seen, although thy breath be rude. Hi-ho, sing hi-ho, unto the green holly. Most friendship is feigning, most love ain't mere folly. Then hi-ho the holly, this life is most jolly. Freeze, freeze, thou bitter sky, that dost not bite so nigh, as benefits forgot, though thou the waters warp, thy sting is not so sharp, as friend remembered not. Hi-ho, sing hi-ho, unto the green holly. Most friendship is feigning, most love ain't mere folly. Then hi-ho the holly, this life is most jolly.
that you were good Sir Roland's son, as you have whispered faithfully you were, and as mine eye doth his effigies witness, most truly limbed and living in your face, be truly welcome hither. I am the Duke that loved your father. The residue of your fortune, go to my cave and tell me. Good old man, thou art right welcome as thy master is. Support him by the arm. Give me your hand, and let me all your fortunes understand.
Not see him since. Sir, that cannot be. But were I not the better part made mercy, I should not seek an absent argument of my revenge, thou present. But look to it. Find out thy brother, wheresoe'er he is. Seek him with candle. Bring him, dead or living, within this 12-month, or turn thou no more to seek a living in our territory. Thy lands and all things that thou dost call thine, worth seizure, do we seize into our hands, till thou canst quit thee by thy brother's mouth of what we think against thee.
Oh, that your highness knew my heart in this. I never loved my brother in my life.
More villain thou! Well, push him out of doors, and let my officers of such a nature make an extent upon his house and lands. Do this expediently, and turn him going.
Hang there my verse, and witness of my love. Oh, Rosalind, these trees shall be my books, and in their barks my thoughts I'll character, that every eye which in this forest looks shall see thy virtue witnessed everywhere. Run, run, Orlando, carve on every tree the fair, the chaste, and unexpressive she.
And how like you this shepherd's life, Master Touchstone?
Oh, truly, shepherd, in respect of itself, it is a good life. But in respect it is a shepherd's life, it is not. Hast any philosophy in thee, shepherd?
No more, but that I know the more one sickens, the worse at ease he is. And that he that wants money, means, and content is without three good friends. That the property of rain is to wet, and fire to burn. That good pasture makes fat sheep, and that a great cause of the night is lack of the sun. That he that hath learned no wit by nature nor art may complain of good breeding, or comes of very dull kindred.
Oh, such a one is a natural philosopher. Wast ever at court, shepherd?
No, truly.
Then thou art damned.
Nay, I hope.
Truly, thou art damned, like an ill-roasted egg all on one side.
For not being at court, your reason.
Why, if thou wast never at court, thou never sawest good manners. If thou never sawest good manners, then thy manners must be wicked. And wickedness is sin, and sin is damnation. And thou art in a parlous state, shepherd.
Not a whit, Touchstone. Those that are good manners at court are as ridiculous in the country as the behavior of the country is most mockable at the court. You told me you salute not at the court, but you kissed your hands. That courtesy would be uncleanly if courtiers were shepherds.
Oh, instance, briefly. Come, instance.
Why, we're still handling our ewes, and their fells, are greasy.
Why, do not your courtiers' hands sweat? And is not the grease of a mutton as wholesome as the sweat of a man? Shallow. A better instance. Come.
Besides, our hands are hard.
Your lips will feel them the sooner. Shallow again. A more sounder instance. Come.
You have too courtly of a wit for me. I'll rest.
Oh, wilt thou rest, damned? God help thee, shallow man. God make incision in thee, thou art raw.
Oh, here comes young Master Ganymede, my new mistress's brother.
From east to west end, no jewel is like Rosalind. Her worth being mounted on the wind, through all the world bears Rosalind.
Ah!
Pictures fairest lined are but black to Rosalind. Let no fair be kept in mind, but the fair of Rosalind.
I'll rhyme you so 8 years together. Dinners and suppers and sleeping hours accepted. It is the right butterwoman's rank to market.
Out, fool.
For a taste. If a hart do lack a hind, let him seek out Rosalind. If the cat will after kind, so be sure will Rosalind. Winter garments must be lined, so must slender Rosalind. They that reap must sheaf and bind, then to cart with Rosalind. Sweetest nut hath sourest rind, such a nut is Rosalind. He that sweetest rose will find, must find love's prick and Rosalind. This is the very false gallop of verses. Why do you infect yourself with them?
Peace, you dull fool. I found them on a tree.
Truly, the tree yields bad fruit.
Peace. Here comes my sister reading. Stand aside.
Shepherd, go off a little. Go with him, sirrah.
Come, shepherd, let us make an honorable retreat.
Didst thou hear these verses?
Oh, yes, I heard them all, and more, too, for some of them had in them more feet than the verses would bear.
But didst thou hear, without wondering, how thy name should be hanged and carved upon these trees?
I was 7 of the 9 days out of the wonder before you came, for look here, what I found on a palm tree.
Trow you who hath done this?
Is it a man?
Aye, and the chain that you once wore about his neck. Change you color?
Nay, but who is it?
Is it possible?
Nay, I prithee now with most petitionary vehemence, tell me who it is.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, and most wonderful, wonderful, and yet again wonderful, and after that, out of all hoping.
Good my complexion! Dost thou think, though I am caparisoned like a man, I have a doublet and hose in my disposition? I prithee take the cork out of thy mouth that I may drink thy tidings.
So you may put a man in your belly?
Is he of God's making? What manner of man? Is his head worth a hat or his chin worth a beard?
It is young Orlando that tripped up the wrestler's heels and your heart both in an instant.
Nay, but the devil take mocking. Speak, sad brow and true maid.
Faith, cuz, 'tis he.
Orlando?
Orlando.
Alas the day! What shall I do with my doublet and hose? What did he when thou sawest him? What said he? How looked he? Wherein went he? What makes him here? Did he ask for me? Where remains he? How parted he with thee? And when shalt thou see him again? Answer me in one word.
You must borrow me Gargantua's mouth first. 'Tis a word too great for any mouth of this age's size.
But doth he know that I am in this forest and in man's apparel? Looks he as freshly as he did the day he wrestled?
I found him under a tree, like a dropped acorn.
It may well be called Jove's tree when it drops forth such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There lay he, stretched along like a wounded knight. He was furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous, he comes to kill my heart.
I would sing my song without a burden. Thou bringest me out of tune.
Do you not know I am a woman? When I think I must speak. Sweet, say on.
Bring me out. Soft, comes he not here?
'Tis he. Slink by and note him.
I thank you for your company, but good faith, I had as lief been by myself alone.
So had I. But yet for fashion's sake, I thank you too for your society.
Oh, God be with you. Let's meet as little as we can.
I do desire we may be better strangers.
I pray you, mar no more trees with writing love songs in their barks.
I pray you, mar no more of my verses with reading them ill-favoredly.
Rosalind is your love's name?
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
There was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened.
What stature is she of?
Just as high as my heart.
Ooh, you have a nimble wit. I think it was made of Atalanta's heels. Look, will you sit down with me, and we two will rail against our mistress, the world, and all our misery. The worst fault you have is being in love.
'Tis a fault I will not change for your best virtue. I am weary of you.
By my troth, I was seeking for a fool when I found you.
He is drowned in the brook. Look but in, and you shall see him.
There shall I see mine own figure.
Which I take to be either a fool or a cipher.
I'll tarry no longer with you. A farewell, good Signor Love.
I am glad of your departure. Adieu, good Monsieur Melancholy.
I will speak to him like a saucy lackey, and under that habit play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forester?
Very well, what would you?
I pray you, what is't o'clock?
You should ask me what time of day. There's no clock in the forest.
Then there is no true lover in the forest, else sighing every minute and groaning every hour would detect the lazy foot of time as well as a clock.
And why not the swift foot of time? Had not that been as proper?
By no means, sir. Time travels in divers paces with divers persons. I'll tell you who time ambles withal, who time trots withal, who time gallops withal, and who he stands still withal.
I prithee, who doth he trot withal?
Mary, he trots hard with a young maid between the contract of her marriage and the day it is solemnized. If the interim be but a senate, time's pace is so hard that it seems the length of 7 years.
Who ambles time withal?
With a priest that lacks Latin and a rich man that hath not the gout. For the one sleeps easily because he cannot study, and the other lives merrily because he feels no pain. These time ambles withal.
Who doth he gallop withal?
With a thief to the gallows, for though he go as softly as foot can fall, he thinks himself too soon there.
Who stays it still withal?
With lawyers in the vacation, for they sleep between term, and then they perceive not how time moves.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
With this shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest, like a fringe upon a petticoat.
Are you native of this place?
As the coney that you see dwell where she is kindled.
Your accent is something finer than you could purchase in so removed a dwelling.
I have been told so of many, but indeed, an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak, who was in his youth an inland man, one that knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. I have heard him read many lectures against it, and I thank God I am not a woman to be touched with so many giddy offences as he hath generally taxed their whole sex withal.
Can you remember any of the principal evils that he laid to the charge of women?
There were none principal. They were all like one another as halfpence are, every one fault seeming monstrous till his fellow fault came to match it.
I prithee, recount some of them.
No, I will not cast away my physic, but on those that are sick. There is a man, haunts the forest, that it abuses our young plants with carving Rosalind on their barks, hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, all, forsooth, deifying the name of Rosalind. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaked. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
There is none of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me how to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not prisoner.
What were his marks?
A lean cheek, which you have not, a blue eye and sunken, which you have not, an unquestionable spirit, which you have not, a beard neglected, which you have not, but I pardon you for that, for simply your having in beard is a younger brother's revenue. Then your hose should be ungartered, your bonnet unbanded, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you demonstrating a careless desolation. But you are no such man. You are rather point device in your accoutrements, as loving yourself than seeming the lover of any other.
Fair youth, I would I could make thee believe I love.
Me believe it? You may as soon make her that you love believe it, which I warrant she is apter to do than confess she does. But in good sooth, are you he that hangs the verses on the trees wherein Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to thee, youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am that he, that unfortunate he.
But are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness, and I tell you, deserves as well a dark house and a whip as madmen do. Yet, I profess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was set to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I set him every day to woo me. At the which time would I, being but a moonish youth, grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something, and for no passion truly anything, as boys and women are for the most part cattle of this color, would now like him, now loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him, that I drave my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and to live in a nook merely monastic. And thus I cured him, and this way will I take it upon me to wash your liver as clean as the sound sheep's heart, and there shall be not one spot of love in it.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you, if you would but call me Rosalind and come every day to my cote and woo me.
Now by the faith of my love I will. Tell me where it is.
Go with me and I'll show it you, and by the way you shall tell me where in the forest you live. Will you go?
With all my heart, good youth.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind. Come, sister, will you go?
There will now be a 5-minute intermission.
This is going
Come, come apace. Good Audrey. I will fetch up your goats, Audrey. And how, Audrey? Am I the man yet? Doth my simple feature content you?
Your features? Lord Warrantus? What features?
Audrey, I am here with thee and thy goats. And as the most capricious poet, honest Ovid was among the Goths.
Oh, knowledge ill inhabited, worse than Jove in a thatched house.
When a man's verses cannot be understood, nor a man's good wit seconded with the forward child understanding, it strikes a man more dead than a great reckoning in a little room. Truly, I would the gods had made thee poetical.
I do not know what poetical is. Is it honest in deed and word? Is it a true thing?
No, truly, for the truest poetry is the most feigning, and lovers are given to poetry, and what they swear in poetry may be said as lovers they do feign.
Do you wish then that the gods had made me poetical?
I do, truly. For thou swearest to me thou art honest now. If thou wert a poet, I might have some hope thou didst feign.
Would you not have me honest?
No, truly, unless thou wert hard-favoured. For honesty, coupled to beauty, is to have honey a sauce to sugar.
A material fool.
Well, I am not fair, and therefore I pray the gods make me honest.
Oh, truly. And to cast away honesty upon a foul slut were to put good meat into an unclean dish.
I am not a slut, though I thank the gods I am foul.
Well, praise be the gods for thy foulness. Sluttish may come hereafter. But be it as it may be, I will marry thee, and to that end I have been with Sir Oliver Martext, the vicar of the next village, who hath promised to meet me in this place of the forest and to couple us.
I would fain see this meeting.
Well, the gods give us joy.
Amen. Amen may, if he were of fearful heart, stagger in this attempt. Courage. Here comes Sir Oliver. Sir Oliver Martext, you are well met. Will you dispatch us here under this tree, or shall we go with you to your chapel?
Or is there none here to give the woman?
I will not take her on gift of any man.
Oh, truly, she must be given, or else the marriage is not lawful.
Proceed, I'll give her.
Oh, good even, good master. What you call it? How do you, sir? You are very well met. God yield you for your last company.
Will you be married, Motley?
As the ox hath his bow, sir, the horse his curb, and the falcon her bells, so man hath his desires, and as pigeons bill, so wedlock would be nibbling.
And will you, being a man of your breeding, be married under a bush like a beggar? Get to church and have a good priest that can tell you what marriage is. This fellow will but join you together as they join wainscot. Then will one of you prove a shrunk panel, and like a green timber, warp.
I am not in the mind, but I were better to be married of him than of another, for he is not like to marry me well, and not being well married, it will be a good excuse for me hereafter to leave my wife.
Go thou with me, and let me counsel thee.
Come, sweet Audrey, we must be married, or we must live in bawdry. Farewell, good Master Oliver. Begone, I say. I will not to wed with thee.
Well, 'tis no matter. Ne'er a fantastical knave of them all shall flout me out of my calling.
Never talk to me. I will weep.
Do, I prithee, but yet have the grace to consider that tears do not become a man.
But have I not cause to weep?
As good cause as one would desire. Therefore, weep.
His very hair is of the dissembling color.
Something browner than Judas's, Mary. His kisses are Judas's own children.
Faith, his hair is of a good color.
An excellent color. Your chestnut was ever the only color.
But why did he swear he would come this morning and comes not?
Nay, certainly. There is no truth in him.
Do you think so?
Yes, I think he is not a pick-purse nor a horse stealer, but for his verity in love, I do think him as concave as a covered goblet or a worm-eaten nut.
Not true in love?
Yes, when he is in, but I think he is not in.
You have heard him swear downright he was.
Was is not is. He attends here in the forest on the Duke, your father.
I met the Duke yesterday and had much question with him. He asked me of what parentage I was. I told him of as good as he, so he laughed and let me go. But what talk we of fathers when there is such a man as Orlando?
Oh, that's a brave man. He writes brave verses, speaks brave words, swears brave oaths, and breaks them bravely. Who comes here?
Mistress and master, you have oft inquired after the shepherd that complained of love, who you saw sitting by me on the turf, praising the proud, disdainful shepherdess that was his mistress.
Well, and what of him?
If you will see a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain, go hence a little, and I shall conduct you, if you will mark it.
Oh, come, let us remove. The sight of lovers feedeth those in love. Bring us to this sight, and you shall say, I'll prove a busy actor in their play.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. Do not, Phoebe. Say that you love me not, but say not so in bitterness. The common executioner, whose heart the accustomed sight of death makes hard, falls not the axe upon the humbled neck, but first begs pardon. Will you sterner be than he that dies and lives by bloody drops?
Would not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I would not injure thee. Thou tell'st me there is murder in mine eye. 'Tis pretty, sure, and probable that eyes that are the frailest and softest things, that shut their coward gates on enemies, should be called tyrants, butchers, murderers. Now I do frown on thee with all my heart. And if mine eyes can wound, now let them kill thee. Now counterfeit to swoon, why now fall down. Or, if thou canst not, oh, for shame, lie not to say mine eyes are murderers. Now show the wound mine eye hath made in thee. Scratch thee but with a pin, and there remains some scar of it. Lean but upon a rush, the cicatrice incapable in pressure thy palm some moment keeps. But now mine eyes, which I have darted at thee, hurt thee not. Nor I am sure there is no force in eyes that can do hurt.
Oh, dear Phoebe, if ever, as that ever may be near, you meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then you shall know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time, come not thou near me. And when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks. Pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother, that you insult, exult, and all at once o'er the wretched? What, though you have no beauty, as by my faith I can see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed, must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why, what means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's sales work. Odds my little life, I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No, faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of cream that can entame my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her like foggy south puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. 'Tis fools such as you that make the world full of ill-favored children. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her, and out of you she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But mistress, know yourself. Down on your knees and thank heaven fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you, friendly in your ear, sell when you can, you are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. So take her to thee, shepherd. Fare you well.
Sweet youth, I pray you chide a year together. I'd rather hear you chide than this man woo.
Why look you so upon me? I pray you do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not. Will you go, sister? Shepherd, ply her hard. Come, sister, shepherdess, look on him better, and be not proud. Though all the world could see, none could be so abused in sight as he. Come to our flock.
Sweet Phoebe.
Oh, what sayest thou, Silvius?
Sweet Phoebe, pity me.
Why, I am sorry for thee, gentle Silvius. Thou hast my love. Is not that neighborly?
I would have you.
Knowest thou the youth that spoke to me erewhile?
Not very well, but I have met him oft, and he hath bought the cottage and the bounds that the old Carlet was once master of.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. Oh, 'tis but a peevish boy, yet he talks well. Oh, but what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. Oh, it is a pretty youth. Not very pretty, but sure he is proud. And yet his pride becomes him. Oh, he'll make a proper man. Oh, the best thing in him is his complexion. And faster than his tongue did make offense, his eye did heal it up. He is not very tall, but for his years he's tall. His leg is but so-so. And yet, oh, it is well. Oh, there was a pretty redness in his lip, a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheek. 'Twas just the difference between the constant red and mingled damask. There be some women, Silvius, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not, and yet I have more cause to hate him than to love him. For what had he to do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black and mine hair black, and now I am remembered scorned at me. I marvel why I answered not again. But that's all one. Omittance is no quittance. I'll write him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Oh, wilt thou, Silvius?
Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it straight. Go with me, Silvius.
I prithee, pretty youth, let me be better acquainted with thee.
They say you are a melancholy fellow.
I am so. I do love it better than laughing.
Those that are in extremity of either are abominable fellows and betray themselves to every modern censure worse than drunkards.
Why, 'tis good to be sad and say nothing.
Why then 'tis good to be a post.
I have neither the scholar's melancholy, which is emulation, nor the musician's, which is fantastical, nor the courtier's, which is proud, nor the soldier's, which is ambitious, nor the lawyer's, which is politic, nor the lady's, which is nice, nor the lover's, which is all these. But it is a melancholy of mine own, compounded of many simples, extracted from many objects, and indeed the sundry's contemplation of my travels, in which my often rumination wraps me in a most humorous sadness.
A traveler. By my faith, you have great reason to be sad. I fear you have sold your own lands to see other men's. Then to have seen much and to have nothing is to have rich eyes and poor hands.
Yes, I have gained my experience.
And your experience makes you sad. I had rather have a fool to make me merry than experience to make me sad, and to travel for it too.
Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
Oh, nay then, God be with you if you speak in blank verse. Ugh.
Farewell, Monsieur Traveler. Why, how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while? You a lover, and you serve me such another trick, never come in my sight more.
My fair Rosalind, I come within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, and you be so tardy, come no more in my sight. I had as lief be wooed of as a snail.
Of a snail?
Aye, of a snail, for though he comes slowly, he carries his house on his head. A better jointure, I think, than you make a woman. Besides, he brings his destiny with him.
What's that?
Why, horns, which such as you are fain to be beholding to your wives for. But he comes armed in his fortune and prevents the slander of his wife.
Virtue is no horn maker, and my Rosalind is virtuous.
And I am your Rosalind.
It pleases him to call you so, but he hath a Rosalind of a better leer than you.
Come, woo me. Woo me. For now I am in a holiday humor and like enough to consent. What would you say to me and I were your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you were better speak first, and when you were gravelled for lack of matter, you might take occasion to kiss.
How if the kiss be denied?
Then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins a new matter.
Who could be out, being before his beloved mistress?
Marry, that should you, if I were your mistress, or should think my honesty ranker than my wit.
What, of my suit?
Not out of your apparel, and yet out of your suit. Am I not your Rosalind?
I take some joy to say you are, because I would be talking of her.
Well, in her person, I say, I will not have you.
Then in mine own person I die!
Oh, faith, men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I would not have my right, Rosalind, of this mind, for I protest, her frown might kill me.
By this hand, it will not kill a fly. But come, now I will be your Rosalind in a more coming on disposition, and ask me what you will. I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faith, will I. Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why then can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister, you shall be the priest and marry us. Give me your hand, Orlando. What do you say, sister?
Pray thee marry us.
I cannot say the words.
You must begin, will you, Orlando?
No, too. Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
Aye, but when?
Why now? As fast as she can marry us.
Then you must say, I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I might ask you for your commission, but I do take thee, Orlando, for my husband. Now tell me how long you would have her after you have possessed her.
Forever and a day.
Say a day without the ever. No, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the sky changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over its hen, more clamorous than a parrot against rain, more newfangled than an ape, more giddy in my desires than a monkey. I will weep for nothing like Diana in the fountain, and I will do that when you are disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hyene, and that when thou art inclined to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
By my life, she will do as I do.
Oh, but she is wise. For these 2 hours, Rosalind, I will leave thee.
Alas, dear love, I cannot lack thee 2 hours.
I must attend the Duke at dinner. By 2 o'clock I will be with thee again.
Aye, go your ways, go your ways. I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as much, and I thought no less. 2 o'clock is your hour?
Aye, sweet Rosalind.
By my troth, and in good earnest, and so God mend me, if you break 1 jot of your promise or come 1 minute behind your hour, I will think you the most pathetical break promise and the most hollow lover and the most unworthy of her you call Rosalind. Therefore beware my censure and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou wert indeed my Rosalind. So adieu.
Well, adieu.
You have simply misused our sex in your love parade. We must have your doublet and hose plucked over your head and show the world what the bird hath done to her own nest.
Oh, cuz, my pretty little cuz, that thou didst know how many fathom deep I am in love, but it cannot be sounded. My affection hath an unknown bottom, like the Bay of Portugal.
Or rather, bottomless, that as fast as you pour affection in, it runs out.
I'll tell thee, Aliena, I cannot be out of sight of Orlando. I'll go find a shadow and sigh till he come.
And I'll sleep.
How say you now? Is it not past 2 o'clock? And here much Orlando.
I warrant you, with pure love and troubled brain, he hath ta'en his bow and arrows and is gone forth to sleep. Look, he comes here.
My errand is to you, fair youth. My gentle Phoebe did bid me give you this. I know not the contents, but as I guess, by the stern brow and waspish action which she did use as she was writing it, it bears an angry tenor. Pardon me, but I am but the guiltless messenger.
She says I am not fair, that I lack manners. She calls me proud, that she could not love me, were man as rare as Phoenix. Odds my will, why writes she so to me? Well, shepherd, well. This is a letter of your own device.
No, I protest, I know not the contents. Phoebe did write it.
Come, you are a fool and turned into the extremity of love. I saw her hand. She has a leathern hand, a freestone colored hand. I verily did think that her old gloves were on, but 'twas her hands. I say she never did invent this letter. This is a man's invention, and his hand.
Sure, it is hers.
Will you hear the letter?
So please you, for I never heard it yet heard too much of Phoebe's cruelty.
She Phoebes me. Mark how the tyrant writes. Art thou God to shepherd turned, that a maiden's heart hath burned? Can a woman rail thus?
All you this railing?
Why, thy godhead laid apart, warrest thou with a woman's heart? Did you ever hear such railing? Whiles the eye of man did woo me, that could do no vengeance to me, meaning me a beast.
Call you this chiding?
Alas, poor shepherd.
Do you pity him? No, he deserves no pity. Wilt thou love such a woman? What, to make thee an instrument and play false strains upon thee? Not to be endured. Oh, if you be a true lover, hence, and not a word. Oh, for here comes more company.
Good morrow, fair ones. Pray you if you know where in the purlieus of this forest stands a sheepcote fenced about with olive trees?
West of this place, down in the neighbor bottom, the rank of osiers by the murmuring stream, left on your right hand brings you to the place. But at this hour the house doth keep itself. There's none within.
If that an eye may profit by a tongue, then should I know you by description, such garments and such years. The boy is fair, of female favor, and bestows himself like her ripe sister. The woman low and browner than her brother. Are not you the owner of the house I did inquire for?
It is no boast, being asked, to say we are.
Orlando doth commend him to you both, and to that youth he calls his Rosalind, he sends this bloody napkin. Are you he?
I am. What must we understand by this?
Some of my shame. If you will know of me what man I am, and how and why and where this handkerchief was stained.
I pray you, tell it.
When last the young Orlando parted from you, he left a promise to return again within an hour. And pacing through the forest, chewing the food of sweet and bitter fancy, lo, what befell. He threw his eye aside, and mark what object did present itself. Under an oak, whose boughs were mossed with age and high-top bald with dry antiquity, a wretched, ragged man, o'ergrown with hair, lay sleeping on his back. About his neck, a green and gilded snake had wreathed itself, who with her head nimble in threats approached the opening of his mouth. But suddenly, seeing Orlando, it unlinked itself, and with indented glides did slip away into a bush, under which bush's shade, a lioness, with udders all drawn dry, lay couching, head on ground, with cat-like watch, when that the sleeping man should stir. For 'tis the royal disposition of that beast to prey on nothing that doth seem as dead. With this scene, Orlando did approach the man and found it was his brother, his elder brother.
I've heard him speak of that same brother, and he did render him the most unnatural that lived amongst men.
And well he might so do, for well I know he was unnatural.
But to Orlando, did he leave him there, food to the sucked and hungry lioness?
Twice did he turn his back and purposed so. But kindness, nobler ever than revenge, and nature, stronger than his just occasion, made him give battle to the lioness, who quickly fell before him, in which hurtling from miserable slumber, I awaked.
Are you his brother?
Wast you he rescued?
Wast you that did so oft contrive to kill him?
'Twas I, but 'tis not I. I do not shame to tell you what I was, since my conversion so sweetly tastes, being the thing I am.
But for the bloody napkin?
By and by. In brief, he led me to the gentle Duke, who gave me fresh array and entertainment, committing me unto my brother's love, who led me instantly into his cave, there stripped himself, and here, upon his arm, the lioness had torn some flesh away, which all this while had bled. And now he fainted and cried in fainting upon Rosalind. Brief, I recovered him, bound up his wound, and after some small space, being strong at heart, he sent me hither, stranger as I am, to tell this story, that you might excuse his broken promise, and to give this napkin, dyed in his blood, unto the shepherd youth that he in sport doth call his Rosalind.
Oh, why, how now, Ganymede, sweet Ganymede!
Many will swoon when they do look on blood.
There is more in it, cousin Ganymede.
Oh, look, he recovers.
I would I were at home.
We'll lead you thither. I pray you, will you take him by the arm?
Be of good cheer, youth. You a man, you lack a man's heart.
I do so, I confess it. Ah, Sirrah, a body would think this was well counterfeited. I pray you tell your brother how well I counterfeited. I hope.
This was not counterfeit. There's too great testimony in your complexion that it was a passion of earnest.
Counterfeit, I assure you.
Well, then take a good heart and counterfeit to be a man.
So do I. But in faith, I should have been a woman by right.
Come, you look paler and paler. Pray you, draw homewards. Good sir, go with us?
We shall find a time, Audrey, or patience, gentle Audrey.
Faith, the priest was good enough for all the old gentleman's saying.
Ah, most wicked Sir Oliver. Audrey, a most vile text. But, Audrey, there's a youth here in this forest lays claim to you.
I know who 'tis. He hath no interest in me in the world. Here comes the man you mean.
Oh, it is meat and drink to me to see a clown. By my troth, we that have good wits have much to answer for. We shall be flouting, we cannot hold.
Good even, Audrey.
God ye good even, William.
And good even to you, sir.
Good even, gentle friend. Oh, cover thy head. Cover thy head. Nay, prithee be covered. How old are you, friend?
25, sir.
A ripe age. Is thy name Will.I.am?
William, sir.
Ah, fair name. Wast born of the forest here?
Aye, sir, I thank God.
Thank God, a good answer. Art rich?
Faith, sir, so-so.
So-so is good. Very good. Very excellent good, and yet it is not. It is but so-so. Art thou wise?
Aye, sir, I have a pretty wit.
Why, thou sayest well. I do remember me now a saying, the fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. You do love this maid?
I do, sir.
Oh, give me your hand. Art thou learned?
No, sir.
Oh, no? Then learn this of me. To have is to have. For 'tis a figure in rhetoric that drink, being poured out of a cup into a glass, by filling the one, doth empty the other. For all your writers do consent that ipse is he. Now, you, sir, are not he, for I am he.
Which he, sir?
He, sir, that must marry this woman. Therefore, you clown, abandon, which is in the vulgar, leave, the society, which in the boorish is a company of this female, which in the common is woman, which together is abandon the society of this female, or clown, thou perishest, or to thy better understanding diest, or to wit, I kill thee, make thee away, translate thy life into death, thy liberty into bondage. I will deal in poison with thee, or in bastinado, or in steel. I will o'errun thee with policy. I will ban thee with the infection. I will kill thee 150 ways. Therefore, tremble and depart.
Do, good William.
God rest you merry, sir.
Our master and mistress seeks you. Come, away! Away!
Tomorrow is the joyful day. Audrey, tomorrow will we be married.
I do desire it with all my heart. And I hope it is no dishonest desire to be a woman of the world.
Oh, trip, Audrey! Trip, Audrey! I attend! I attend! Oh!
Is it possible that on so little acquaintance you should like her? That but seeing you should love her, and loving woo, and wooing she should grant? And will you persever to enjoy her?
Neither call the giddiness of it in question, the poverty of her, the small acquaintance, my sudden wooing, nor her sudden consenting. But say with me, I love Aliena. Oh, say with her that she loves me. Consent with both that we may enjoy each other. It shall be to your good. For my father's house and all the revenue that was old Sir Rowland's will I estate upon you. And here live and die a shepherd.
You have my consent. Let your wedding be tomorrow. Thither will I invite the Duke and all his contented followers. Go you and prepare Aliena. For look you, here comes my Rosalind.
God save you, brother.
And you, fair sister.
Oh, my dear Orlando, how it grieves me to see thee wear thy heart in a scarf.
It is my arm.
I thought thy heart had been wounded with the claws of a lion.
Wounded it is, but with the eyes of a lady.
Did your brother tell you how I counterfeited to swoon when he showed me your handkerchief?
Aye, and greater wonders than that.
Oh, I know where you are. Nay, 'tis true. There was never anything so sudden, but your brother and my sister no sooner met but they looked, no sooner looked but they liked, no sooner liked and loved but they sighed, no sooner sighed but they asked one another the reason, no sooner knew the reason but they sought the remedy, and in these degrees they have made a pair of stairs to marriage which they will climb incontinent, or else be incontinent before marriage. They are in the very wrath of love, and they will be together. Clubs cannot part them.
They shall be married tomorrow, and I will bid the Duke to the nuptial. But oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much the more shall I tomorrow be at the height of heart heaviness, by how much I shall think my brother happy in having what he wishes for.
Why then tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind?
I can live no longer by thinking.
I will weary you then no longer with idle talking. Believe me, if you please, that I can do strange things. I have, since I was 3-year-old, conversed with a magician, most profound in his art, and yet not damnable. If you do love Rosalind so near the heart as your gesture cries out, when your brother marries Aliena, shall you marry her. I know into what straits of fortune she is driven, and it is not impossible to me, if it appear not inconvenient to you, to set her before your eyes tomorrow, human as she is and without any danger.
Speakest thou in sober meanings?
By my life I do, which I tender dearly. Therefore put you in your best array. Bid your friends, for if you will be married tomorrow, you shall, and to Rosalind, if you will. Oh, look, here comes a lover of mine and a lover of hers.
Youth, you have done me much ungentleness to show the letter that I writ to you. Oh, good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial and observance. And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I am for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Who do you speak to? Why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not hear.
Pray you, no more of this. 'Tis like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. I will help you if I can. I would love you if I could. Tomorrow, meet me all together. I will marry you if ever I marry woman, and I'll be married tomorrow. I will satisfy you if I ever satisfied man, and you shall be married tomorrow. I will content you if what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. As you love Rosalind, meet. As you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. So fare you well. I have left you your commands.
Not fail if I live.
Nor I.
Nor I.
Dost thou believe, Orlando, that the boy can do all this that he hath promised?
I sometimes do believe, and sometimes do not. As those that fear they hope, and know they fear.
Patience once more whiles our compact is urged. You say if I bring in your Rosalind, you will bestow her on Orlando here?
That would I had I kingdoms to give with her.
And you say you will have her when I bring her.
That would I, were I of all kingdoms king.
You say you'll marry me if I be willing?
That will I, should I die the hour after.
But if you do refuse to marry me, you'll give yourself to this most faithful shepherd.
So is the bargain.
Say you'll have Phoebe if she will?
Oh, though to have her and death were both one thing.
I have promised to make all this matter even. Keep you your word, O Duke, to give your daughter. You yours, Orlando, to receive his daughter. Keep your word, Phoebe, that you'll marry me, or else, refusing me, to wed this shepherd. Keep your word, Silvius, that you'll marry her if she refuse me. And from hence I go to make all these doubts even.
I do remember in this shepherd boy some lively touches of my daughter's favor.
My lord, the first time that I ever saw him, methought he was a brother to your daughter. But my good lord, this boy is forest born, and hath been tutored in the rudiments of many desperate studies by his uncle, whom he reports to be a great magician, obscured in the circle of this forest.
There is sure another flood toward, and these couples are coming to the ark. Here comes a pair of very strange beasts, which in all tongues are called fools.
Salutations and greetings to you all.
Good my lord, bid him welcome. This is the motley-minded gentleman that I have so often met in the forest. He hath been a courtier, he swears.
If any man doubt that, let him put me to my purgation. I have trod a measure. I have flattered a lady. I have been politic with my friend, smooth with mine enemy. I have undone 3 tailors. I have had 4 quarrels, and like to have fought one.
And how was that ta'en up?
We met and found the quarrel was upon the 7th cause.
How 7th cause? Good my lord, like this fellow.
Oh, I like him very well.
Oh, God yield you, sir. I desire you of the like. I press in here, sir, amongst the rest of the country copulatives, to swear and to forswear, according as marriage binds and blood breaks. A poor virgin, sir. Ta-da! An ill-favored thing, sir, but mine own. A poor humor of mine, sir, to take that no man else will. Rich honesty dwells like a miser, sir, in a poor house, as your pearl in your foul oyster.
But for the seventh cause, how did you find the quarrel on the seventh cause?
Oh, upon a lie 7 times removed.
Huh?
Bear your body more seeming, Audrey! As thus, sir. I did dislike the cut of a certain courtier's beard. He sent me word, if I said his beard was not cut well, he was in the mind it was. This is called the retort courteous. Ding. If I sent him word again, it was not well cut, he would send me word, he cut it to please himself. This is called the quip modest. Aha. Now, after that, it was again not well cut, should I say so? It was not well cut. He disabled my judgment. This is called the reply churlish. If again I said it was not well cut, he would answer, I spake not true. This is called the reply valiant. If again it was not well cut, he would say, I lied. This is called the countercheck quarrelsome. Oh! And so to the lie circumstantial, and then the lie direct.
And how oft did you say his beard was not well cut?
I just go no further than the lie circumstantial, nor he durst not give me the lie direct, and so we measured swords and parted.
Can you nominate in order now the degrees of the lie?
Oh, sir, we quarrel in print, by the book. As you have books for good manners, I will name you the degrees. The first, the retort courteous. The second, the quip modest. The third, the reply churlish. The fourth, the reproof valiant. The fifth, the countercheck quarrelsome. Oh, stop it. And the sixth, the lie with circumstance. And the seventh, the lie direct. All these you may avoid, but the lie direct. And you may avoid that too with an if. Your if is the only peacemaker. Much virtue in if.
Is not this a rare fellow, my lord? He's as good at anything, and yet a fool.
Oh, he uses his folly like a stalking horse, and under the presentation of that, he shoots his wit.
Then is there mirth in heaven when earthly things made even atone together. Good Duke, receive thy daughter. Hymen from heaven brought her, yea, brought her hither, that thou mightst join her hand with his whose heart within his bosom is.
To you I give myself, for I am yours. To you I give myself, for I am yours.
If there be truth in sight, you are my daughter.
There be truth in sight, you are my Rosalind.
If sight and shape be true, why then my love adieu.
I'll have no father if you be not he. I'll have no husband if you be not he, nor ne'er wed woman if you be not she.
Peace, ho! I bar confusion. 'Tis I must make conclusion of these most strange events. Here's 8 that must take hands to join in Hymen's bands, if truth holds true contents.
Oh, my dear niece, welcome thou art to me, even daughter welcome in no less degree.
I will not eat my word. Now thou art mine. Thy faith my fancy to thee doth combine.
Let me have audience for a word or two. I am the second son of old Sir Roland.
Ah, phew.
Bringing these tidings to this fair assembly, Duke Frederick, hearing how that every day men of great worth resorted to this forest, addressed a mighty power which were on foot in his own conduct purposely to take his brother here and put him to the sword. And to the skirts of this wild wood he came, where, meeting with an old religious man after some question with him, was converted, both from his enterprise and from the world, his crown bequeathing to his banished brother, and all their lands restored to them again that were with him exiled. This to be true, I do engage my life.
Welcome, young man. Thou offerest fairly to thy brother's wedding. To one his lands withheld, and to the other a land itself at large, a potent dukedom.
Sir, by your patience, if I heard you rightly, the Duke hath put on a religious life and thrown into neglect the pompous court?
He hath.
To him will I. Out of these convertites there is much matter to be heard and learned. To you, your former honor I bequeath, your patience and your virtue well deserves it. You to a love that your true faith doth merit. You to your land and love and great allies. You to a long and well-deserved bed. And you to wrangling, for thy loving voyage is but for 2 months victualled. So to your pleasures, I am for other than for dancing measures.
No, stay, Jacques, stay.
Oh, to see no pastime, I. What you would have, I'll stay to know at your abandoned cave.
Proceed. Proceed. We will begin these rites as we do trust they'll end in true delights.
It is not the fashion to see the lady the epilogue, but it is no more unhandsome than to see the lord the prologue. If it be true that a good wine needs no bush, 'tis true that a good play needs no epilogue. Yet to good wine they do use good bushes, and good plays prove the better by the help of good epilogues. What a case am I in then, that am neither a good epilogue nor can insinuate with you on the behalf of a good play? I am not furnished like a beggar, therefore to beg will not become me. My way is to conjure you, and I'll begin with the women. I charge you, O women, for the love you bear to men, to like as much of this play as please you. And I charge you, O men, for the love you bear to women, as I perceive by your simpering, none of you hates them, that between you and the women the play may please. If I were a woman, I would kiss as many of you as had beards that pleased me, complexions that liked me, and breaths that I defied not. And I am sure as many as have good beards or good faces or sweet breaths will, for my kind offer when I make curtsy, bid me farewell.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for attending the Bardcast Players live stream performance of William Shakespeare's As You Like It. If you enjoyed tonight's performance, please tell your friends, and if you would like to, we encourage you to please make a donation in our name to our charities, the Actors Fund or Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. You can find donation links on our website, www.thebardcastudick.com. Happy Shakespeare's birthday!